As you heard from the intro, I am from Pittsburgh, but I'm actually from a little town north of Pittsburgh called Butler, Pennsylvania. Tiny town. And when I was growing up as a young girl in high school, the number one thing that I wanted to be, and the number one thing that every young girl in Butler, Pennsylvania wanted to be, was a sequinette. And a sequinette was a member of the pom-pom squad, you know, the drill team, the kick line. It was everything to be a sequinette in little Butler, Pennsylvania. And I remember as a junior, I went to the practices with the other girls, and I'm learning the routine, and I'm realizing a lot of these girls have years and years and years of dance training. And I don't. I mean, I learned all my dance moves from MTV, watching Michael Jackson and Madonna. It was a long time ago. And so when it came time for the tryouts, and a big auditorium, and there's 3 judges, and I'm walking out to the stage, and I get out there, and I am petrified. And the music starts, and in my mind, I just freeze. I can't remember any of the choreography. I screwed it up completely. And you can imagine what happened next. I didn't make it. And this was devastating. I mean, in high school, all my friends had made it, and so now for the following year, when I'm at the football game, they're on the field, I'm in the stands. And now it's basketball season, and they're at halftime performing, the sequinettes, doing the whole kick line, pom-pom thing, and I'm in the stands. It was humiliating. So it's next year. Now it's my senior year. Should I try out again for the senior squad? And I thought, I'll try. I will practice double the amount of time. And you know what? I remembered as I was there for the tryouts, and there were the judges, I remembered thinking that our director, the director of the sequinettes, Mr. Leonard, had told us, he said, girls, I want you guys to think of yourselves as the Rockettes. You can be that good. You can be as good as the Rockettes. And so, as I'm walking out to try out and I'm on the stage, it wasn't Jackie Huba. It was a Rockettes. And I nailed it. I killed it. I absolutely was so proud of what I did, and guess what? I made it. I made it. And here is a shot of Miss Jackie. Did I mention it was the 80s? Little bit of big hair going on. It was amazing. And I have to tell you that the courage to try it again was really hard. And it really had a lot to do with what Mr. Leonard had told me. And I think it was the first time I realized that if I could think of myself as kind of a powerful being, a Rockette, it could actually change the way that I performed and that I acted and that I felt, and I could be supremely confident, right? It was kind of a strategic moment in my life, but I didn't know it at the time. So from there, I went on. I actually went to Penn State. I was a computer science major. Went to work at IBM, of all places. Another uniform, can you see there? Actually had nylons and pantyhose on at the time. So I worked there for 11 years in Raleigh, North Carolina, and then went on to work for a bunch of startups, actually started writing some books, and I think people who looked at me generally thought that I was successful. And I had had a long career, and about 5 years ago, though, I didn't feel successful. I sort of started to become really bored with the work I was doing. I felt stifled creatively. I'd gotten out of a long relationship. I felt stuck in my life. And I didn't know how to move forward. I didn't know if I would have the courage to, at 47, just reinvent myself and go do something completely different. I was really in kind of a dark place. And I'll never forget, I was sitting on the couch one night, just flipping channels, and I stumbled upon a little television show called RuPaul's Drag Race. Too many fans of RuPaul's Drag Race? Really? I love it. And so you recognize this picture, right? Season 6. And I didn't know that much about drag, like I knew who RuPaul was, right? But what I'm seeing is these these guys who are performers, they're actors, and they're creating these amazing female personas. They are bold, they are fearless, they have sort of a give no fucks attitude. Sorry, kids. But that's what it is, right? It's amazing. They own who they are, they just love it. And I'm starting to watch this season after season, and I'm thinking, I want to be like that. I want that confidence to go do whatever it is I want to do. I want that fearlessness to kind of own my own power and just look fabulous at the same time, right? So I wanted to understand how they did this, and I started to really immerse myself in the world of drag. And I don't know if you guys know this, but there is a queen from RuPaul's Drag Race here every Sunday night. You know that. At Oil Can Harry's, every Sunday night at 10:30, it's a plug for the show, there is a drag race queen there. And so I started going to the shows, and I started going to San Antonio, where they also come as well. And I started talking to them and interviewing them, and I said, I want you to tell me, how do you do this? What is this whole idea of, creating an over-the-top character that has maybe completely different traits than you might have inside? But yet you're creating this using your mind and, of course, costuming and wigs and styling and all of that. And I was learning amazing things, and I thought, well, I'm an author. Maybe I'll write a book about this, right? Maybe I'll write a book about this. And as I'm interviewing and talking to these folks and learning more about it, I did so many crazy things. I actually went on 2 drag cruises with 40 drag queens from the show and 2,000 fans on a boat for a week. It's a lot of drag things going on, a lot of other things going on, which I'll tell you about later over a drink. But I really threw myself into it, and as I'm thinking about writing this book, a lot of people said to me, well, how are you going to write this book unless you do drag yourself? And I was like, wait a minute. I didn't really know at the time that women do drag. Well, here's the thing. Drag is for everyone, as I've come to understand. And I think people think that it is a gay man who is dressing up as a woman, and that is drag. And that is not the case at all. The history of drag is actually going back to Shakespearean times, or in the East on the theater, when women were not permitted to be on the stage. And so men had to play the female roles, right? And so forth and so on. And so now today, we all realize drag is for everyone. There's always been women doing drag. I don't know how many of you know this. There's actually women who do a male character for the stage. Have you guys heard of a drag king? Some of you? Yeah? So that's a drag king. There's women who do a female character, and there's a lot of names for that. Some people call it a bio queen, a hyper queen. I just call it a female drag queen. And so that's what I wanted to do. I thought, oh, this sounds fabulous. I have no idea how to do it. But someone introduced me to the top drag queen in all of Austin, Texas, and that's Miss Kelly Klein. And I asked Kelly to help me. And now Kelly came over to my house and spent hours and hours teaching me the theatrical makeup, the wig styling, the art of the lip sync, costuming. I learned every single thing that a male drag queen learns how to do, except I didn't have to learn how to tuck. Which I understand is very tough and very painful. But I had to do, again, everything that a drag queens do. So what do? You got to create a character. And I thought, okay, who do I love for their fierceness? I started to think about characters and people that I absolutely loved. I thought about, as Ben may have said, one of my books, my last book before this one was called Monster Loyalty, How Lady Gaga Turns Followers into Fanatics. So I've been researching and following Lady Gaga since 2009. And I love her. I think she's amazing. She's absolutely fearless. So I got the lady from that. And then, I don't know how many of you seen The Matrix? Trinity from The Matrix? Badass, right? Absolutely can hold her own with the rest of the guys. She's got those sleek outfits on, kind of sexy with the leather and the latex. So Lady Trinity was who I was, right? And as I'm learning all these things from Kelly, and I thought, well, I'm going to do what other drag queens do. I'm going to start social media accounts. So Lady Trinity, I did an Instagram, a Twitter, a Facebook. I started uploading all these photos. And at one moment, I realized, I'm still speaking for a living. I'm still consulting and to the corporate world. I Googled Jackie Huba, and guess what started to come up? Lady Trinity, and Lady Trinity looks like that. And I'm thinking, holy hell. Like, what are my corporate clients, like, what do they think is happening with all of this? And I remember a moment where I thought, I need to take this down. I need to take this stuff down. This is like, oh my goodness. And I remember thinking, okay, you're writing a book about how to be confident like a drag queen. And I thought, what would a drag queen do? Right? What would a drag queen do right now? Would she be afraid and take that stuff down? Oh, hell no. Hell no. No. She would leave it up there. And so that's what I started to do. And I have to tell you, this actually became a mantra for me. And so, as I mentioned to you earlier, I don't have a dance background. I don't have an acting background. And my drag mentor, by the way, they call it a drag mother. Many of you know that. My drag mother, Kelly, kept telling me, you're going to have to perform. You can't just sit around and try makeup on and try some costumes on. Well, Kelly is the host of that show at Oil Can Harry's every single Sunday night at 10:30. And she said, you're going to perform in my show. And I was like, oh, no, I'm not. I mean, think about it. These are seasoned drag queens who've been doing this for a living, and I'm just like some woman who's putting on some makeup and things. But I had to think like a drag queen. And I thought, okay, what would drag queen boot camp look like? I have no idea. There's no classes for this. You can't just sign up at, community college. Drag Queen 101, that's not a thing. I thought, well, someone had recommended to me, maybe in your ability to kind of like seduce a crowd, what about burlesque? So that's what I did. I took a 6-week burlesque class in Austin. You can do it as well. How many have done burlesque? Anyone? That's some scary shit. That's some scary shit. As a 47-year-old woman going in there and learning how to strip down to, pasties. That's what you do. So Lady Trinity's in there. She's trying it. It was a 6-week class. At the end of the class, we had to perform a striptease for our class. There were 10 people when we started the class. When we got to the performance class at the end, there were 3. And our instructor said a lot of people don't have the courage to actually go through with this. I'm going to show you my before shot. This is, I did a Marilyn Manson number, and it's very S&M. She's got the Trinity coat. I am not going to show you the after. Let's just say there's boots, boy shorts, and just pasties, and that's it. I actually had a videographer that I brought with me who filmed this in front of the class, and I've never watched that video. Ever. It was all I could do to get through it. And I'm looking, there's like a camera pointed at me and my 3 little classmates, and they're like, woo! And I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing this. I'm okay. I'm like, it's crazy. But I got through it. I got through it because over and over again, even after the first class when I wanted to quit, I remember saying to myself, what would a drag queen do? She would not quit that burlesque class, right? She would keep going. And so it went on like this. And finally, my drag mother convinced me to perform. And I realized one little thing I might try to do is bring people with me. So when I started performing, I always have backup dancers. Always. This is a little S&M number where I'm sitting on my backup dancer. Because let me tell you something about backup dancers. They have one job. That's to make you look good. I mean, really, you should try it. Like, I don't know what your next presentation is here at Volusion or where else. Bring some backup dancers. Like, present to your boss with your backup dancers. You look amazing, and they will totally listen to your proposal. Really. So sometimes I have 2, sometimes I have 4. And what I kept finding myself doing in this whole process was just pushing every boundary of a comfort zone that I had. If there was something that came up for me to try, if I was afraid of it, I would just say yes. A couple of years ago, I don't know if you guys know this, the biggest drag festival in the world started here in Austin, Texas. It's called the Austin International Drag Festival. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. Some of you are familiar with it? Yeah, it started 3 years ago. It was drag performers from all over the world. Drag kings, drag queens, female drag queens, stars from RuPaul's Drag Race, legends of drag like Lady Bunny, Sherry Vine. Do you guys know these names? Right? I mean, huge. And people from all over the world. And they had a few spots you could apply to perform, and I was like, I don't know. I'll apply. And I got in. Yeah. And they put me in a showcase with let's just say one of the top drag queens in the world, Derek Barry, if you guys know him. If you don't know Derek, and I know you do, he is the #1 Britney Spears impersonator in the world. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So the night that I'm to perform, I'm in his showcase. I'm following him. He comes out and does a 20-minute Britney medley with 3 costume changes on stage. And then he sang at the end. And he walks off, and I have to follow that. And I have my 4 backup dancers, and I remember standing there thinking, I can't do this, right? And I just remember thinking, again, you know, I have to make it happen. And so I walked out on stage, and I did it. And it was terrible. No, it was bad. Like, I banged into all these backup dancers, and I'm like, I need to walk off that stage, and here she is up there performing. But I made it through because, again, what would a drag queen do? And so I kept performing, and I did a comedy number, a little more glamour, which I had never done before. And then maybe one of the bigger performances I ever did, 2 years ago when I was promoting the book, I had a publicist I hired, and he's like, hey, I booked you to perform in drag at the biggest drag brunch in New York City. It's a 400-person theater with other drag queens from New York. I'm like, no, what did you do? I mean, if you've ever been in New York and you've been to a drag show, you know those are wannabe Broadway stars. They sing, they dance, they act, they're amazing. And now I have a giant stage that I have to fill, a 400-person theater, and I got to perform with these queens. And I was like, okay, I'm going to hire the hottest backup dancers I possibly can, literally, so that I look even better than I usually do, a new costume, and we killed it. We did a great job. It was very intimidating, but somehow we pulled it off. And by the way, I can't believe I'm going to tell you this, but all of these performances are on YouTube. So you can go watch them and see how we did. Now, as an author and a speaker, you have to know that one of the biggest goals that I have ever had is to want to speak at a TED or a TEDx. And a couple of years ago, I was approached to speak at one of the top TEDx's in the world. It was 3,500 people in the NHL hockey stadium in Vancouver, Canada. And I said, yeah, I have a little talk called How to Unleash Your Inner Drag Queen. And they were like, great. But when I got there and I realized how big this really was, it was, I keep using the word terrifying, but the terrifying levels just keep going up and up and up and up. And I do this for a living, but this is the most afraid I've ever been in my entire life. And this is when I actually got out on the stage. Right before I was ready to go out, and I was there all day. I was near the end. The gentleman before me was a comedian who had a near-death experience, and he was talking instead about his bucket list, he talked about his fucket list. Brought the house down. And then the gentleman before me was a young kid, 17. He was actually mentally challenged. He was talking about the Special Olympics, and in the middle of his talk, he broke down and couldn't continue. And the entire crowd gave him a standing ovation as he's crying. I know. And then it kept going, and they gave him a second standing ovation at the end. And I'm next. Woo! I mean, I'm just backstage like, oh my God, am I really going to be able to do this? And I've got my 4 backup dancers, and I'm like, get out there. And I got out there, because again, what would a drag queen do at that moment? She would not be afraid. She would get out there, she would do it. And so I did it. And I did an entire talk, as you saw earlier, looking kind of professional. And I talked about how to build this persona that is as fierce as you can possibly be. But I wanted to do something that had never been done before. First of all, there had never been a woman doing drag on a TED stage ever. And I thought, how am I going to talk about drag without showing people a little drag? So for 12 minutes, I talked about how to build a persona, how to be as fierce as a drag queen. And then I wanted to let them know what it was like to have a drag queen trapped underneath. So I'm going to show you the last 60 seconds of my TED Talk. And here's a really great thing now. You know, I might walk into a room, and I look like this. And what's really cool is that underneath, I have Lady Trinity's boldness. And she makes me feel like this.
Professional.
How about those dance moves? I learned them from Michael Jackson. Did you see the part where I totally forgot the choreography? But I recovered and I got lifted. It was all good. It was an insane experience. And I got through it and I did it. And what I've learned over and over again about pushing yourself and finding the courage to keep trying these things is once you do something outside your comfort zone and you get through it, you go to the next thing and you're petrified and you say, oh my God, but I did that, so now I can do this. And I performed at Oil Can Harry's, so of course I can perform in the drag festival. Of course I can perform at the stage in New York City, and then I can perform on the TED stage because I did all of that. I even did burlesque. I did it all. And I used that strength to find courage to keep doing it, even though literally at the moment I didn't think I could. And so that's what I've really found in studying drag queens and studying how they use this fearlessness to get out and do the crazy things that they do. It's because they aren't afraid to get out of their comfort zone. And I think for us as creative folks in trying to get outside our comfort zones, maybe there's a lot of lessons to learn from that. This all kind of culminated in this book that came out 2 years ago, as Ben talked about, Fiercely You. It has the 5 keys to fierce in it. So you're going to learn these kind of 5 ways that you can be as fierce as a drag queen. And one of them is that you are going to build your persona. It's almost a little bit of a workbook. So if you're interested in learning how to be as fierce as the queens that you might see on TV, this is the way to do it. And now I get to do really fun things. Like I do workshops and I help people learn how to build personas for courage. Just actually Monday, I worked with SKU, which is, I don't know if you guys know this, the #1 consumer product accelerator in the country is here in Austin. Many of them are food companies, they're entrepreneurs, they have some great companies, and they have to pitch to investors and pitch to do all kinds of things, get partners, and so we built their alter egos. You can see, not just for the ladies, also for men, we had some fierce alter egos that were built. My favorite was this gentleman in the crown in the back. He said his first name was Zero and his last name was Fucksgiven. So when he goes to pitch out there for money for his company, he's going to walk out as Zero Fucksgiven and ask for all that money. So super fun. And also as Ben mentioned, RuPaul's been super, super supportive. This is at RuPaul's Drag Con. Do you guys know RuPaul's Drag Con? If you don't and you love drag, it is a Comic-Con for drag. It is a giant fan event. The next one's in May in LA. I've been 3 times. It's like 35,000, 40,000 people from around the world who love all things drag and RuPaul. He's kind of a spiritual mentor to me. He has so many amazing thoughts about how to live our life more boldly. And one of them is the quote he gave us for the cover of the book, which I love. When you become the image of your own imagination, it's the most powerful thing you could ever do. And the idea here is that if we can imagine it, we can be it. But only if we believe that we can push ourselves through our fear. That's really what courage is, isn't it? Courage isn't just feeling confident. Courage is the ability to take action through your fears and be able to move outside your comfort zone. And this is where the growth happens for all of us. So I hope that that's something you might take forward. And so I've come to the end of my talk, but I just want to leave you with one piece of advice. If you are ever afraid of anything, you know what to do. You just say, what would a drag queen do? You guys, thanks so much for your time. Okay, so guess what? I'm going to introduce our special performers for today. Now, this person I have known for a long time, and she's local here in Austin, but she's actually from Puerto Rico, and she's been in Austin for the last 9 years. She's such an inspiration to me. I love her so much, and she's really given me a lot of support and help and guidance during this crazy stuff I was doing. I interviewed her for the book, and she was amazing. So I know her, and some folks in Austin know her, but many people around the world know her because she showed her cuckoo on RuPaul's Drag Race Season 8, won Miss Congeniality, didn't win the crown, and RuPaul was so impressed with her that he brought her back for season 9. One of the very few queens to ever be on two seasons of RuPaul's Drag Race. So you guys, I want a huge round of applause for Miss Cynthia Lee Fontaine.